President Bola Tinubu today ordered the immediate release of the minors under prosecution over the End Bad Governance August protest, and he's instructed the Attorney General of the Federation and Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs on this matter. And tonight is being a back and forth between the former vice president and the presidency on the policy of the government. Atiku Abubakar has described the policy of the Tinubu government as a trial and error economic policy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloe here in Abuja. Let's begin by letting you know what the president had said today in respect of a very concerning matter about the detained minors who were arrested in August over the End Bad Governance protest. So the president today has directed that those minors be released, and those were being arraigned on last week. The president also directed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to see to the welfare of the minors, following the outrage that trailed the arrest and arraignment of the minors over the End Bad Governance protest held in several parts of the country. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, disclosed this to State House correspondents earlier today after the president swearing in 7 newly appointed ministers. The minister said the president ordered the immediate release of the minors without prejudice to whatever legal processes that are ongoing. Take a listen to the minister.
Mr. President, because of his very deep commitment to democracy and the rule of law, and without prejudice also to whatever legal processes there are. On the other hand, the human side, the human part of it, has directed that some announcements be made. I recall that I had a short briefing with Mr. President early this evening, and he has directed the immediate release of all the minors that have been arrested by the Nigerian police without prejudice to whatever legal processes there are. All minors, the president has directed that all of them be released immediately. Second, the president has also directed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to immediately see to the welfare of those minors and also take part to ensure their smooth reunion with their parents or guardians.
All right, this seems to be escalating so fast, and we understand that over the weekend, the Nigerian police force has sent a message to some senior officers in relation to how to handle juvenile cases and trials of minors. And so we understand that some of the communication within the Nigerian police, which has now been made available to us, indicates that the Inspector General of Police, who is currently attending an Interpol General Assembly in Glasgow, has earlier directed investigation into the circumstances of the care of the juvenile offenders while in remand of police custody by the court, and has summoned all the DCSCID and heads of all police investigation units across the country to a conference and workshop on child-friendly investigation and care of persons in police custody in Nigeria. The communication we will show to you what has been transmitted across the country to the Nigerian police officers in charge of cases similar to these. And now it does look now that there will be more attention to how minor and juvenile cases are being handled. We understand that they've now instructed the Nigerian police, some of the Nigerian police officers to be trained specially on handling the cases of children. Well, it does look like the agitation and the advocacy is getting somewhere. I will show you a communication within the Nigerian police force, which actually preceded the decision of the president today. Well, let's tell you that President Bola Tinubu has also sworn in 7 of the newly appointed ministers who have been confirmed by the Nigerian Senate. He did that today at the presidential villa in Abuja in the presence of very senior members of the cabinet, including the vice president and other members of the cabinet. The president has charged them to be up and doing in respect and honor of the nation.
For us, it was a challenge when a nation was servicing its debt with 97% of its revenue. It's nothing but end of the cliff. But today I can report to you that we brought that one down and it's at 65%. We have never defaulted in paying our obligations. We meet all obligations, both foreign and domestic. We have our head above the water.
President Bola Tinubu there earlier today. So much to talk about on the program tonight. Some of the things that Atiku Abubakar said. He said, look, the President Bola Tinubu's economic policies, he tagged it trial and error economic policy. He said there are no plannings, no thought behind it, and they're just knee-jerk approaches. The presidency had responded to say, look, you are talking because you are angry because you lost the election, and in fact, whatever you did when you were in power is less admirable. There's been back and forth. And Atiku Abubakar has also responded that he did not lose the election, but the mandate was stolen. We'll be giving you insight on some of these things and where the nation is at today and the way forward. A former ally of Peter Obi, former ally of President Olusegun Obasanjo is my guest tonight on the program. We'll be right back after the political roundup, everyone.
Court of Appeal in Abuja has discharged and acquitted a former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Doyin, from his conviction of false asset declaration by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. The conviction of Doyin was thrown out by the appellate court following the resolution of the issues that led to his trial and conviction. Delivering judgment, Justice Abba Mohammed adopted the terms of settlement between the federal government and Doyin, which includes that the tribunal lacked the jurisdiction to have tried and convicted the former CJN, even after he had voluntarily tendered his retirement letter, which was accepted by the then president. Justice Mohammed also ordered that 4 bank accounts of the former CJN be returned to him. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, says the commission would improve in addressing the challenges of logistics for election as well as result management in the Ondo governorship election. The INEC chairman stated this while answering questions from journalists in Akure. Professor Yakubu says he's in Ondo State Office of the Commission to assess the readiness of the Commission for the election to be held on Saturday, the 16th of November, 2024. He notes that he will also be meeting with the various stakeholders in preparation for the election.
Well, we have received positive reports from our state office in Akure, but we decided also to come for readiness assessment.
The Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Oti, has sworn in the newly elected council chairman of the 17 local government areas and their deputies, charging them to deliver the dividends of democracy to people at the grassroots. Performing the swearing-in ceremony at Abia State Government House in Umuahia, Governor Alex Oti admonished the chairman to see their election as an opportunity to work for the people.
We have elected officials who will drive the grassroots development of the state. You were elected on a set of definite promises, and there can be no excuse for such bad performance.
Similarly, in Cross River State, Governor Basi Otu has sworn in the chairman and vice chairman of the 18 local government areas in Cross River State. He charged them with the responsibility of providing sincere service to the people, emphasizing his administration's commitment to prioritizing the needs of the people. Governor Otu urged the newly sworn-in officials to promptly address the needs of their constituents, while commending the state's electoral commission for overseeing smooth elections throughout the state.
It must be your people first. We want to see the difference in the shortest possible time. Your people must be able to feel the impact.
A group, the Northern Youth Alliance, has condemned the arrest and arraignment of children in court by the federal government for participating in the August Bad Governance protests, describing it as inhumane and a violation of Child Rights Act. Speaking at a summit in Kaduna, President of the Northern Youth Alliance, Aliyu bin Abbas, said the present administration has failed, considering the hardship that Nigerians are going through. The group also gave a 2-day ultimatum to the federal government to release the arrested children or face mass action by Nigerians.
Thank you so much. There you are. You've been served with your political roundup stories. All right. It was an interesting engagement yesterday in the run-up to the Ondo governorship election slated for the 16th of November 2024. So Channels Television, with its partners, yesterday staged a governorship debate between the PDP and the APC candidates. Dr. Ayedatu of the APC and Agbola Ajayi of the PDP had an engagement on critical issues. Let me remind you some of the areas perhaps you have not seen in the news. For some of you who was not able to catch that debate yesterday, take a listen to the back and forth and the engagement on those critical issues that will affect how this election will go. Take a listen to them.
Of state with high debt profile. Since I came on board, we have not borrowed, and we don't have the need to borrow for now. Now, that is that. And don't forget also, since removal of subsidy, the state governments are earning more from the proceed that is being distributed through the allocation. Now, at the period when that was done to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal, wage awards were given to workers and other palliatives that were given to the citizen to alleviate or to reduce the hardship. Now, for the minimum wage, it's a law, it's a negotiation between the federal government and the labor leaders and the private sector. And we just have to implement it. Even though the baseline was 70,000, but we can afford 73,000 for our workers. And that is what we have done.
Majority of the oil that were export, red oil, are from Ondo State before. Today, no single oil factory except this locally built machines. The glass factory is dead. Yes, and I said, when I'm a governor of Ondo State, we might not have a lower glass again, but I can assure you, we will have Sunshine Factory in Ondo State, Sunshine Glass Factory in Ondo State again. I will establish that. We will also establish good cocoa processing factory that will produce a lot of product from the cocoa. But yes, chocolate, Bonvita, everything. You don't have to, what is going on now is that they will just buy the cocoa, take it to Lagos, and they may spend 2 weeks in Lagos before they will access the port and export that raw product abroad. There is nowhere. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about have to make it work in those days. That's about the cocoa. But again, for agriculture, my brother, you need to pity the farmers. By the time they harvest their plantain, in 5 days, it got destroyed. Because no storage facility, no encouragement. When I'm governor, I'm going to encourage that facility. As a matter of fact, we will also activate our local airport, cargo airport, where we can export some of this agricultural base for our people to have access and have enough money as farmers in those states.
All right, there you have some of snippets of the engagement between the two men yesterday, Agbola Ajayi of the PDP and Lucky Aiyedatiwa of the APC. Let's get to it. There's been some back and forth about the economy between former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the presidential candidate of the PDP, and also the presidency. And he's described the economic direction or policies of these men as not well thought out. It is criticized that it's a trial by error economy. The presidency has also fired back to say if the only reason why Atiku Abubakar is speaking is because he's pained by his loss. Of course, Atiku Abubakar is also responding to say he did not lose that election. His mandate was stolen. The issue of economic policy and the direction the presidency have been explaining. And of course, there are those who believe that the direction of this economy or the direction in which our nation is going under the Tinubu government, a lot of people share different views on that matter. One of those is a former presidential aide and former presidential advisor, Dr. Doyin Okupe, is live with us here in Abuja studio. Thanks so much, Dr. Okupe, for joining us.
Good evening, Seun.
I saw that you visited President Bola Tinubu.
Yes, I want to say a friend. I want to say a good man, an administrator, a man that is evidently concerned. I was shocked. He told me that, look, I know there's a lot of criticism, but I'm busy and I am focused on what I'm doing. I see a man that is passionately concerned, resolutely committed, and determined to work, even at his age.
You saw that only in the few minutes you met with him?
I didn't meet him. I was with him for 1 hour. I mean, give me a break. I could. That's what I even prayed with him. Because I was so impressed.
Literally, like prayers, like Christian prayers?
Yes, I held his hands. His son was there while he was there, and I prayed for him. Because I saw a genuine person.
Are you a pastor now, or you're just like a Christian?
I'm an evangelist.
Oh, okay.
You know that.
All right.
And I really don't have any much more concern in this country, except that it must work. And we must, if for it to work, we've got to support whosoever is on seat. This gentleman happened to be a good friend that I've known for a long time, and I am very certain about his capacity and capability.
And
I've said it before.
Someone that you have heavily criticized also.
Yes, because we have never been in the same party, but you understand that that's politics. But
it's interesting that you have suddenly changed your mind.
I didn't change my mind.
You became a firmer believer now. When
I came out,
your political standpoint.
No, sir. When I came out to run for president under PDP, you will recall. Let anybody go and check my Twitter space. On the 21st of March, 2022, I said if Bola Tinubu wins the nomination of the APC, he's going to do well. I said that.
Do you think he's doing well right now?
He's doing exceedingly well, and he's going to do much, much better. Bola Tinubu needs understanding, not undermining.
Okay.
He needs.
Just a little of. Let's put things in perspective.
Yeah.
So that we don't offend the sensibility of our viewers, and I wouldn't like any of my guests on the program.
I'm giving my own opinion.
But your opinion is not gospel. It might not be factual.
You cannot say it's not factual.
It might be. So when you say that, and that's why I wanted you to take a pause to explain what you meant by the fact that the Bola Tinubu government is doing very well.
He's doing well.
So what do you mean well?
I told you, Seun.
In what sense?
Seun, even here, I told you before. By benefit of hindsight now, and thank God, Almighty God is all wise. Of all the three major candidates that ran for that election, none of them, except Bola Tinubu, could have faced this quagmire in which you are, would have had the heart to breast it and the knowledge and the resources to do what he's doing. I am telling you for a fact.
Doesn't this sound like a betrayal to a man you said was the best man for the job?
Excuse
Peter
me.
Obi.
I spoke English. I said,
I'm responding in English.
I said by the benefit of hindsight.
Now the question is what has changed?
There's no betrayal.
What have you seen that is different now? And Peter Obi has been explaining how there is a derailment in the policy direction of this government, what he thought he was going to do and do differently in the handling of the economic policies and the policies and governance direction.
Has Peter Obi told you what he will do if he was president? Has he told you?
Yeah, he has said it.
What did he say?
He said he was going to do differently. He's going to focus on productivity. Yeah. He's going to focus on production. He's going to make Nigerians work.
Talk is cheap.
So you don't believe in Peter Obi any longer?
It's not that I don't believe in Peter Obi. Peter Obi was a damn good candidate when we got him.
You sold him to Nigerians.
But we lost that election. And a better man won.
And you don't think that
competition.
You don't think that what you sold is I mean, as someone who marketed Peter Obi, and now you're thinking
with all sincerity of purpose,
and you thought that Peter Obi was better than Tinubu, was better than Atiku.
That's what I thought.
But now you don't think he is.
Now, from seeing what Bola Tinubu is doing, and his disposition, and especially after seeing him yesterday, I am more than convinced that if this gentleman is given understanding and time, he's going to get us of this problem. And I'm telling you, none of these other two people could have done anything better. No, you heard him what he said. It's okay. As I said, talk is cheap. I'm going to do production. What production from where? Listen, you are paying 97% of your total revenue as a nation to service debt. Now, every other thing apart from air we're breathing is subsidized. There's foreign exchange arbitrage. There's, fuel subsidy has been on the table for the last 20 years. Nobody had the nerves to even try to do it. But this, at the point at which I read Atiku's proposition, he said, if he was president, he would borrow $10 billion to do something, another $25 billion for that makes $35 billion. Who's going to lend you money? By the time Buhari was leaving, Nigeria was not sellable. Nobody was going to give Nigeria $1 billion anywhere. And that was why, because we could not borrow money anywhere, the Buhari administration went ahead and did an illegal and an unlawful thing through the ways and means and printed 21 trillion naira. So when you are faced with that, that is a quagmire. That is confounding. Only a brave man, a man with mental resources, a man that is sure and confident in himself can do what Bola Tinubu is doing. And thank God he's one there.
Yeah, you worked with former President Olusegun Obasanjo closely. You also work with former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Correct.
In fact, there are some people who say, bring back Jonathan now, because considering the economic indices in this country, and you saw even the argument of former President Olusegun Obasanjo about the state of the economy and how it thinks that there is a mishandling of the economy under this government. And look, this is what Atiku Abubakar says. Quote, "We would have planned better and more robustly. My reform journey would have benefited from more thorough preparations, deeper diagnostic assessments of Nigeria's conditions, increased consultation with key stakeholders, and well-defined ideas for the final destination. We would have relied on my comprehensive reform agenda as set out in my quote, my covenant with Nigerians, a policy document that aimed to protect our fragile economy by preventing business collapses. Our document outlined policies that were consistent and coherent." Now, the question I'd like to ask, based on what Atiku Abubakar said, he said that he has set out a policy that is coherent, properly structured, properly planned. From what we have seen, the decline in the economic, major indicators in our economy, does it show that there's a coherence in the policy of this government?
Sure. I told you, talk is cheap. If I was a public relations person for Atiku, I could have even written a better script. All right? Beautiful communication, low in content. But there's no content.
Would you have said that an Atiku Abubakar is a cheap talker for someone who was a vice president for 8 years? Would they have, based on his experience,
vice president for 16 years doesn't mean anything.
He helped to run the economy in some ways.
We are in a situation.
You don't think that Atiku Abubakar understand the economy of Nigeria?
I didn't say he didn't understand. You can understand the economy. I have no idea what to do. Or your mindset may be such that it cannot actually accommodate what is required. Only, I don't want to use this word because it keeps coming to my mind. Only somebody who is just, who is just crazy, like Bola Tinubu, will stick out his neck at this. Whoever who will come to run Nigeria after 8 years of total destruction by a former administration. But yes, I think we didn't talk about this yesterday, but I'm sure he has that on his mind that, well, I brought Buhari, and so I may have to take some parts of responsibility. But then Yoruba people say, I like them to be more. I'm Ojo the way. The fact that he brought Buhari and Buhari didn't do well, we can't kill him for that. But I think Nigerians are being unfair. This gentleman has been here for 17 months only. There was a man that was here for 18 months and for 80 years. Nobody asked any questions. Nobody said anything. Now this one is there for 1 year, and you're asking, why is he not correcting the ills of 40 years? Well, who does that? From where?
So let's put things into perspective.
Yes,
Dr. Okupe. When you say Nigerians are being unfair, in what?
Some Nigerians.
Because is it the fact that
they're asking for
prices of food are high, and in the manner in which things have gone and spiraled, actually, would you say Nigerians are being unreasonable?
Not unreasonable.
Just a moment.
Are these unreasonable?
Those who are unable to feed, those who are unable to send their children to school, those who are unable to put fuel in their vehicles, those who were buying petrol at less than 500 naira, who are now buying it at almost 1,000 naira, those who are buying tomato at double the price or triple the price they were buying it 1 year ago, those who cannot send their children to school any longer because the school fees had gone through the roof. Would you say those are unfair and unreasonable when they talk and say things are difficult?
Can I say something?
Is there a realization, Doc? Is there a realization that things are difficult?
It would have been easier for Bola Tinubu to come into the government and continue printing money and continue looking for where to borrow money, and then we keep looking as if we are fine, and then the whole roof comes down and we become in Venezuela or Somalia, God forbid, where people without any gun will on their own emigrate and run out of this nation. Listen, I'm a doctor, right? I'm a medical practitioner by training. In surgery,
of a lot of years. Some people have said you may not even know where to point the stethoscope right now.
I have the basics. So sometimes when patients are critical and you need to do surgery to remove certain parts of the body, you will have to clamp the source of supply, the arterial supply. You have to clamp it for some time so that the field can be clear. Because if the field is not clear, you cannot operate. So what they are doing now, they are clamping arterial supply, which will make life a little bit uneasy. But when the surgery is over and the clamp is removed, we are going to come back to good times. That is the truth. And I want to tell you something. The opposition must know something. Politics, the campaign is over. Election is over. They should just go back, and go back to the drawing board and plan on how to come back in 2027 to try to take power. Not just just every little thing you bring issues up.
So let's give apple for apples, oranges for oranges. Let's make a fair comparison.
Correct.
Some of us are diehard fan of the entity called Nigeria. And whoever is in office,
I'm in that team.
Okay, all right.
And I have been
even those of you who are on the tarmac
very long time. All my life, I have served Nigeria. All my life, I have believed the unity of Nigeria. All my life, I have staked everything I have for the country.
Now, under the past governments, and when you say that this government is doing very, very well, and it's good for us to put the data and the facts to it. The GDP, in terms of comparison now, Nigeria ranked 4th in the continent by GDP.
Today.
Correct. On that basis, You think we're still doing very well?
Excuse me. Can you do comparative analysis of GDP consideration in 14 months? Can you show, in all honesty, what was the GDP in 2014, 2015 when GAG was there? It was about we were number one. Okay. Then from that time, we cascaded down.
We rebased at some point.
Yeah,
under GAG.
Under GAG.
Yeah,
and
we rebased under
number one.
Yeah.
And we cascaded down. Why are people developing temporary amnesia? That period of ignominy, that period of disaster, that period that nobody can explain. Those eight missing years when there was no governance in this country.
You mean under Buhari?
Very clearly. Let's say it. Let the truth be told.
But there are those
Why are you?
There are those who will say under Buhari you had infrastructure development.
Good talk.
Go to the southeast. They will tell you about the
in this administration. Is there no infrastructure development? Even in 1 year. In 1 year, this administration has done more than 80% of what Buhari did in 8 years.
That cannot be fact.
It is a fact. Yesterday, I was listening to Umahi. Look, this road, the Okupe to Calabar Road,
the Coastal Highway,
has been on the pipeline for 25 years. The Sokoto Lagos Badagry one has been there for 50 years. But all these things, somebody is doing something about it, and something is happening. So don't come and talk to me about it.
All right. So let's talk about
myself.
Okay, we'll talk about it, Doc, because if things are better, we will know. And we're
talking of 17 months. Yeah. 17 months. Doc, how much can you do in 17 months?
Just let me say this to you, Doc, that if you have a gym instructor and you approach the gym instructor at 260 pounds, you weigh 260 pounds, and you tell the gym instructor that I want to go down to 80 pounds, and you have been able to do that in 3, 4, 5 months, it shows improvement. It shows that you have achieved your goal, your target. But if after 3, 4, 5 months of your timeline, you have added 40 pounds, you are now 200 pounds over the 160 pounds that you wear. You are not going. You have not gone anywhere.
That is not applicable.
Economy
that
as
is not
indices.
applicable to this administration.
And I'm using that as an example.
Met a certain amount of money in the foreign reserve. It has increased it. The foreign debts and local debts that they are owing and obligations, they have paid it. There are times. There was a time when certain airlines will not come to this country, and even those who are coming to this country will reduce their flights, and they are causing a lot of trouble, increasing their prices. But they have paid them 7 billion. They have paid them all. So don't come and tell me that you are.
Let me give you another. Let me give you another.
Let us be fair. It is our country.
We want this.
It is our country.
Just a moment, Dr. Okupe.
Let us be fair.
Bola Tinubu is not the owner of this country.
Correct.
Bola Tinubu is not the owner of this government.
Correct.
He leads the government. We want him to succeed, because if he succeeds, he's for our collective. If anybody is criticizing him, and the conversation we're having about the economy, we want our country to be better.
Correct.
Take a listen to this, sir. There is an average GDP, and Atiku Abubakar is putting this out also in the public. They say, look, under the Obasanjo administration, 6.59% is the GDP growth rate. It peaked at 15% in 2002. 7.98% under the late Yar'Adua administration, and 4.8% under Jonathan, compared to the 2.8% of the Tinubu government.
You see, now you have done the same trick. What was the GDP under Buhari government? Tell me. You have done the same thing.
Is this an APC government?
It's nothing to do with APC.
8 years ago, was it an APC government?
You know me, I don't believe in APC. When they formed the APC, I told the Nigerians that this was a conglomeration of immiscible liquid.
You are only a Tinubu believer. You are not an APC.
I'm not APC. I will never be APC.
What changed? You went to the villa. You suddenly just changed. You are a transformer.
No, I have been defending this administration even ever before. Before I went to the villa, I have not seen Tinubu with my eyes except yesterday for the last 8 years.
And you think he's a messiah now?
He's not a messiah, but he's a man that is ready to work. He's a man that is dutiful, and luckily, luckily he's endowed mentally.
And what do you think? What do you think Nigerians who are suffering, who are feeling the hardship now? How do you think they will see you and perceive you now?
It's nothing to do with me. Am I in government?
No, but you are defending and saying this is the best thing that could have happened to Nigeria
based on the knowledge, facts, and information that I have, and knowing fully well that anybody who came into government in 2023 and did not do what Bola Tinubu is doing would have been a major, unpatriotic.
So he's breaking the ice. He's doing a tough job
with his head. I told him with his head. He's breaking the ice with his head.
I'm breaking the coconut also.
He's breaking everything. He's breaking everything.
But to what end?
We just need.
Are we seeing the result?
The results are coming. The results are showing.
When will they come?
They are showing gradually. They are showing. Look, I'm a farmer now. I farm. Look, even the simplest thing you do
is more lucrative than medicine. Let's take a break, Doc. After this break, so much to talk about. There is a particular statement that Dr. Okupe was saying about Peter Obi. I'm wondering why he said so, and what has really caught up his mind about those kind of narrative in his line of thought. We'll be back on the state of the nation and the way forward. Plus, we have some breaking news for you. We do now know that the former governor of Delta State and the former PDP vice presidential candidate, Dr. Okowa, has been arrested by the Economic and Financial Crimes EFCC. Breaking news right here on Channels Television. Former governor of Delta State and former PDP vice presidential candidate Okowa has been arrested by the EFCC over alleged fraud and diversion of funds. Details right here on Channels Television. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Our former presidential advisor, Dr. Doyin Okupe, has been speaking with us on the program. Thanks so much indeed, Dr. Okupe, for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
So, you are defending some of what we're seeing today in the country, and there are those who, for example, will say to you, Dr. Okupe, if you are saying that what we have on the ground, it's a difficult situation, the president has said, look, we breast it. He's asking for the job, or he asks for the job, and he's up to the task. But the indices are not, and the livelihood of Nigerians, those who are going through this tough situation, are saying that this is not what they bargained for. The government brought the GDP to the fourth in Africa under this government, under that 18 months that you're talking about. How then do you want to tell Nigerians that this is actually working?
Seun, go and check the history of reform. There are very few presidents who you can call reformers in the world and in history. When you check the history of reform, there's no reform that gets the result in 9 months. It's not a microwave. That's the truth. Lincoln, anybody, go and check the history. When you are president and you decide to embark on reform, what you need to do, which I'm not too sure, or the Tinubu is doing well, is you must keep communicating. You must keep talking to the people.
They are failing in that respect.
You must keep telling them, look,
what do you communicate then? If you're working hard or you are doing well and it's showing the lives of the people,
they've got to
isn't that the best communication?
They've got to see, you can envision the light at the end of the tunnel, but they're not wearing your prisms or glasses. You have to make them to see it through your eyes, what you're doing. I have seen it because the benefit of my position, my understanding and exposure. But the people must know. So it's going to take, and I don't think it's going to take too long from now. But if we do not go through this tough time, the country would have collapsed. So believe me for this. And it would have been much more serious than what we're facing.
You took a hit at your former principal, Mr. Peter Obi.
I didn't take a hit. No.
Yeah, you said to him, you criticized him on Twitter. Based on his comment on an online.
I corrected him. I cannot hit Peter Obi. I am sentimentally attached to Peter Obi. Peter Obi.
How do you balance it?
Listen to me.
You're attached to Peter Obi.
Hold on now. Peter Obi was my project. And I am part and parcel of those who built Peter Obi up. I can't publicly, denigrate that or break down that house. No, I won't do it. But, when the sensibilities of some of us are affected, we, especially when it becomes, a zonal matter. I mean, when you take entire Yoruba race, you call them out. I'm an elder statesman. I'm primarily, first and foremost, a Yoruba man. If I cannot speak the truth at my age, then there's no point to live. What Peter Obi said was wrong. To say that a Milokon, they should now ask people in Ogun State whether they are buying bread. When Bola Tinubu said a Milokon, he was not addressing the nation. He was not addressing a rally. He was addressing, APC delegates in the premises of Ogun State government who are going to APC convention that they should vote for him. And he said, look, and he was speaking in Yoruba, and there's nothing wrong with that. He said, look, I helped to form this party. I helped to do this. Buhari contested election first, he lost. Second, he lost. Third, he lost. Then, I came in and I helped him to become president. I also helped your son to become vice president. Even Biodun
called him Eleyi.
Whatever it is, he said, even this governor, I helped him. It is now my turn. What's wrong with that? He said it in Yoruba. I am the next in line for this office. It's legitimate. It was not tribalistic. It was not, it was not a Yoruba thing. It was just something that said, look, I haven't been this leader that has done so much. I should be given a chance to give a shot at it. So, when Obi makes that statement, it insults us. I was a Yoruba man. I'm not blind and I'm not crazy. I left everything and I followed Obi. Baba Obasanjo, for the first time in his political career, left his circle of influence, Babangida, Abdusalam, Tiwa Danjuma and co, and he deviated for once and, came to support Obi.
Do you regret do you regret supporting Peter Obi?
I don't, because...
Would you do it again?
If, they say that now there's a problem, I cannot do it again. You know why? Because the reason why I did it was that this, what we agreed was that a southern president must emerge. All right? And, but that's what I'm telling you. Baba Adebanjo called me and said, Doyin, if a southern president must emerge, which zone must it come? Let's be honest and truthful. I said Southeast. He said, so let's support them. Now, if all these, or Shitoku, all of us, if all these eminent Yoruba people supported you, why now bring us down publicly? It's wrong. That's what I did. I didn't take a jab. I just called, and listen to me, Sheon. From now on, we are no longer going to keep quiet for people who just think they can insult Bola Tinubu. Bola Tinubu in the Southwest is the apple of our eye. And
even when he does wrong,
he's not doing wrong. He's not doing wrong.
But things are not not looking well.
They will look well because we know him.
How do we then, when things are not going right? And so
I've just told you, it's a reformer.
Just a reformer. Some of us believe so much in this country, we kept quiet. And those who kept quiet, just for a moment.
Yes.
I mean, your belief, you can measure the intensity of your belief. I can measure my own intensity of my belief.
So in the Nigerian project.
No, but the question I'm asking that, when people had believed in past presidents and past leaders, and we found that we woke up one day and we saw that our nation was on the ground, should we still keep quiet with the benefit of experience?
Nobody's asking everybody to keep quiet. But listen to me. You have a house, a 50, 60-year-old house that, the roof has been leaking for 60 years. And now at the 60th year, you now come and say, this is too much now.
But if the leak is now more than what it was before.
Nobody repaired the roofs, and now, somebody now comes in and in 1 year, you say,
so you are doing more of an ethnic protection rather than the national protection.
That's not true.
You said it's the apple of your eyes as a even when it does wrong.
I didn't say when it does wrong. I'm qualifying this personality. You cannot take Yoruba-ness from me now. All my life, I have been a nationalist. I have never done Yoruba party. I will never do Yoruba party. I have always aligned, even with the North. Don't bring this type of thing. We have passed this stage. We have.
But what we are concerned about is that at some point, people are concerned and emotional about what tribe, what region the president comes from. For some of us, we don't care. What we care about is who can fix this nation. We can get this nation on the right track. In some other clients,
we fix this nation. Take that to the bank. Bola Tinubu will fix this nation. Sheon, the problem with you young people is that you want a microwave solution. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know, I mean, Bola Tinubu is not a fool. He knows that if he doesn't do this thing well, between now and 2027, he doesn't have a chance.
But
all right?
Is he thinking about re-election when he spoke to you?
I didn't ask him.
Do you think he has a chance from what you're saying today?
Listen to me, Sean. You are not going to like what I'm about to say. In this country, we have an agreement. North will do 8 years, South will do 8 years. Buhari did not do well. You know, we were not crazy. We did not fight. We did not raise anything. He did his 8 years. Bola Tinubu is doing well. He's going to do his 8 years if God spares his life and he wants to do so.
If Nigerians decide so.
Nigerians will decide so because
how are you sure?
I am sure.
You are not the totality of the Nigerian population, Dr. Okupe. Can you speak for the over 200 million Nigerian people?
Nigerians are reasonable, sensible people, not demanding too much from their leaders. If Bola Tinubu gives us light in 2027, if Bola Tinubu resolves this fuel crisis and this food crisis between now and that time, you will see people will go on the street and say, is Bola or nobody?
I'm very sure that you're very good friends on social media, whom you always engage with, the tirade and all of that we see. They will come after you. And when they do, you know what they at some, there was a very viral statement. They coined one word, they said T-pain. That was what they came about. And when they will probably get at you on social media and start reminding you what T-pain means, you probably will have an answer for them.
T-pain means temporary pain. That's what it means.
Those who coined it, that was not what they meant.
No, you don't know. I'm telling you, God has a fortuitous way of working things out. When they wrote T-pain, I was happy because that is exactly what it is. It's T-pain. It's temporary pain that will lead to, an extensive, pleasantry and something good for the nation. And it's a matter of time.
We hope that the T-pain will turn to P-gain, permanent gain. So if it's a temporary pain, hopefully Nigerians will get a permanent gain.
Permanent betterment.
Okay. Now, what we saw earlier today, what the president said that he has ordered that those minors be released. And I told you I was going to, and there was an internal police communication asking for more training for senior police officers in handling juvenile care. This over the weekend actually happened. That communication you see right here on your screen, which indicates that now police officers will be trained. We understand that these had actually come out just before, a day before the president even made that statement, and the police, Inspector General of Police had given this order. There are a lot of people who had come after this government to say, how can a government arrest minors and say that those minors are planning to topple this government? Well, the government has reversed itself.
Shum, the president of the country is not a boarding house master. Nigeria is a huge place. Responsibilities are myriad. People are supposed to do their own bits. You see now, from what you said to me today, now the IG of police in far away Norway or wherever, has risen up to the challenge, and he has called his people to order. But the president did not wait for that. The president, as the head of the administration, has issued an order that ameliorates the situation. That's it. The president is not police. It's not going to be, if they shoot somebody in Kaura and Moda, you cannot say, what is government doing about it? If a child is taken away in Ikweru, you can say, what is this Tinubu doing? The president is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a country of 200 million people with a lot of responsibility. Do you understand? He has acted rightly, promptly, and effectively as at when due. I've served 2 presidents before. It's not everything that goes on.
Would you be able to serve Bola Tinubu in an official capacity?
I'm too old now. I'm not serving anybody anymore.
Joe Biden was still serving this country.
No. Joe Biden can be anything. Me, I'm only interested.
But you wanted to be president.
I wanted to be president. I cannot be 2 Yoruba presidents at the same time. So whatever thing that God has given me, I'm going to use it to support this one there
Dr.
to succeed.
Thank you so much indeed for your time.
My pleasure.
But let's also remind you the breaking news that we have for you. Former governor of Delta State and the former vice presidential candidate of the PDP, Ifeanyi Okowa, has been arrested by the EFCC over allegations of fraud and diversion of funds while he served as the governor of the state. But that's our program tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. God bless Nigeria.